Man, it feels good to be back in Nashville. I love this town. I'm so lucky. It's so freaking cool. I have a lot of very, very cool and very fun epic home studio tours lined up for this summer. I am so thankful to everyone who's doing this and for you for watching this and hitting the like button, of course. But today is especially cool because I get to go and check out the guitarist and lead singer from the band, Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Now, I've been following him for a bit. I think I found him through Instagram and his band and some of the stuff that they have done, and it's amazing, and an exceptionally talented guitar player and just such a nice person. If you guys haven't heard of them, they have an album out right now called Pressure. It is freaking rad, and they have another album coming out this year. So if you guys haven't heard of them, go check them out. They are so freaking cool. Links to everything down in the description. Give Tyler a follow the band. They've not only opened for, but gone on tour with Jeff Beck, Aerosmith, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Joe Bonamassa, B.B. King, Pat Benatar, Heart, Smash Mouth, Six, REO Speedwagon, AC/DC, and Guns N' Roses, and Vince Gill. So much talent in the band as well as just in the house. Tyler Bryant is also married to Rebecca Lavelle from Larkin Poe, another fantastic blues band. There's so much rad music being made in his studio and at his house. It's absolutely ridiculous. So thank you, Tyler, for having me and letting me, geek out with you. This video is sponsored by Sweetwater, though. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video. And I personally am just going there and looking for all the gear that I want. It's kind of cooler to go into somebody else's space where they've got a system and they're using all the gear that works for them and their workflow. I put links to all the stuff that I use, and sometimes I'll find little special things in this unique tour, and I'll put links to that down in the description. It takes you to Sweetwater, it supports my channel, gets you what you want. It's really a perfect marriage, so I can't thank them enough for supporting the channel. Also, if you're interested now that I'm back in town, you can book Zoom consultations on my website, ANDREWMASTERSmusic.com. The mixing and the drumming stuff, if it's available, you can try and book that. It's a little crazy right now, but I appreciate every single one of you. The consultations is a really fun way for us to connect and geek out and talk about. If you have any questions on anything specific, you could book a Zoom consultation for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or up to an hour if you'd like. Again, that's ANDREWMASTERSmusic.com. You can book it right from there. The schedule is tied into my schedule. With all that being said, thank you, Tyler, for having me. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing. We just hit 50,000 subscribers on the channel. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Drop a comment if you guys have any questions, and let's go check out Tyler Bryant's home studio. So how long have you been here again?
I've been in this spot for a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Had you been doing home recording before that?
Yeah,
or did you start here?
I've been doing home recording for a long time. I moved to Nashville when I was 17. I did a publishing deal, and then I realized I was giving all of my money to the people who could record, and I was writing a song a day pretty much. Wow. So I was like spending so much money trying to demo my songs. So I started buying a mic here and there, and it snowballed, of course, as it does.
This is the tracking room.
Well, I mean, it's really a living room with we're in the basement of my wife and I's home. I think it's set up to be kind of an apartment, but I'm currently using it as a tracking room.
This is, I would typically say a man cave, but
it is a man cave. This is where I pretty much hide out. I live down here. So yeah, we do drums here. Often we do live recordings. Like we just made quite a few new recordings where, I mean, honestly, I'm just sitting right there and we're playing. As long as the drummer is managing the levels, you can get like decent sounding live recordings.
You can kind of like write, rehearse, and record.
Yeah.
Whenever.
We don't rehearse here. We rehearse over at Graham, the other guitarist in the Shakedown. That's my band. We rehearse at his pad, and then we do a lot of our writing and recording here.
This is comfortable.
Yeah, I'm
nice.
a little OCD. I mean, whenever we're working, like we made a record down here called Pressure during the pandemic, and it wasn't quite so cozy then. Right before lockdown, we went to the store and we stocked the fridge up full of groceries, so we were cooking and eating here. It wasn't like...
Oh, yeah.
And we were living down here it took us 20 days to complete that record. Kind of say that this place is sort of like an alcoholic living in a bar. Like, that's how it feels to me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so lucky to be able to come down here, every morning when I wake up and just make something. That's kind of why I wanted to get this place set up the way that it is so that if I want to sit on the couch and play Resonator, or if I want to go in there and build a track with programmed instruments, or if I want to play the drums or have friends over to jam, you know, like there's a very good possibility that later tonight I might have some friends over, and if a jam starts happening, things are mic'd up, and then I have a record of it. Yeah, you're just like immortalizing moments. You know, that's what I'm really into.
So I just noticed that I'm looking over here at the drums. You kind of play everything, right?
I'm a really, really terrible drummer. I'm a killer editor. I learned how to shuffle in Texas because I'm obsessed with Texas blues. I grew up in Texas, and I really wanted that double clutch shuffle thing. But I have great respect for the drums, and I love to record drums. This kick drum, we were just recording this artist from DC actually named Nate Bergman, and we were using this, I think this is a 24. This is Caleb's kit. He's the drummer in the Shakedown. It's a killer sounding kick. The toms are part of this 70s Ludwig butcher block kit. And the snare, I think it's a Gretsch. It's a wooden snare. I don't know what it is.
So what kind of track were you doing?
This particular track was a heavy rock track. I believe we did no muffling on the snare. I love to mess with like the fat heads and all the drum tacos and all that stuff to deaden the drums. Recently, I don't know if you mess with this or not, Roger Allen Nichols, who I think you just did a video with, he was telling me that he's been using an SM81 on the snare in conjunction with the 57, and it's amazing that you get so much chest in the snare drum from that,
I love the overhead.
Yeah, I got that thrown up there, and this is a Stager stereo ribbon. These are made here in Nashville, Tennessee. I love this mic.
Oh, that is nice.
They're killer on guitar amps, they're killer on rooms. Like I did a record earlier this year with Frankie Ballard. We would just set that mic like sort of, if he was singing here, we'd set it 7-10 feet back. And then just mixing that in subtly, it's like all of a sudden the singer isn't right here, you have some dimension to what's going on. I love that. Whenever the Shakedown, we made this record called Pressure here. My friend Roger was engineering it, and he came over and I was like, man, bring this pre that you have, bring this mic, bring this. And he's like, dude, we're making a record in your basement. And so we did the entire record using only Apollo Unison pre's, and it sounds killer. I mean, since doing that record, I've bought a lot of gear.
Yeah.
Because I was so inspired, and I realized like, oh, recording is truly a passion for me.
Okay, so we got the SM7 on that. I love the stand.
I know,
Is that a drum stand? What is it?
Yeah, it's a little, but the funniest thing is it's kind of wobbly.
Oh,
but you can't hear it. I think
great.
it's got like a little piece of rubber that acts as a shock mount.
All right, so you got a 57 on snare, top, bottom.
Yeah.
With the SM81.
Yeah, and I mean, this changes daily. It never stays set up for too long. The 421s on the toms, I love those. I mean, but the other thing is like I'm a huge Chad Blake fan, and so I love his theory of like, oh, if you can have a couple of different configurations on the drum kit that sound amazing, you can utilize that in the mix. With the R84 kind of in the crotch position, it's like that alone could be the entire drum sound. Or that with the overhead. I got this mic, it's an Electro Voice, I can't remember the exact model number. I think they're like $100 or so on Reverb, not to show how much of a nerd I am. But I got it from this church in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it sounds incredible as a junk mic. I mean, you'd be amazed at how much low end it gets, actually. But yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing. Right now, I've got it running through a Rat pedal and crushing it with an 1176. So all of these, it's like they're not all going at once, or if they are, then that's cool too.
Do you monitor that while you drum?
Yeah, I mean, I rarely drum. Drum. Like my bandmate Caleb is one of the best drummers. He comes over and he's a really good drummer. I'm a really crappy drummer. So, but yes, I monitor it all in the headphones.
And then what you got down here? 52A?
Yeah, that's the 52, and then that's the Telefunken T47. It's the tube sort of modern 47 clone, I suppose.
And then what is this? Is this, you pulled this out of cab?
Yeah, to be honest with you, my friend Brennan and I just put that together yesterday. I haven't even tried it yet. Pulled it out of one of my speaker cabs. I had just a stack of spare speakers, so I was like, why don't we zip tied it to a stand? And then this is the Soyuz bomblet. These mics are amazing, man. I've borrowed it from Soyuz to check out, and I wrote the guys and was like, you're not getting this one back. So I had to buy it. It sounds incredible. It's great on vocals, great on guitar amps. Right now I've got it just sort of as like a front of kit mic. I just figured I would try that.
And then this guy. Have you tried this one yet?
I haven't tried it. I just picked that up today. So the stereo Stager, I'm so in love with that mic that I wanted to have a stereo ribbon that I can leave over the drums, and then have one that I can use for vocals and guitar cabinets and stuff like that. I got a couple of the Telefunken TF11s that I was using, and those are great. And I tried some other mics, and then I tried that, and in this room, the ribbon, it just works great.
What's this guy called? This is a resonator, right?
Yeah, so that is actually a 1934
Oh my gosh.
National Duolian. It's a brass body. You can tell whoever owned it had the frets numbered, and they're actually numbered one off. Like, so if it says 10, that's actually 11. It's an amazing sounding resonator. Like, check this. It's just like this really like warm, bluesy sound. This one here on the wall is a tricone resonator. So it's got 3 cones in it. It's made in Saginaw, Michigan by a company called Mule. It's unbelievable.
Do you have to tune it in like a strange way?
You can tune it just like a
Standard?
tuning, or like that one I think is in open D. I have some that are tuned to open D, some that are tuned to E, some that are G. Some of them I'll just tune all the strings unison and then it sounds like a sitar. I will say that every guitar that's in here gets used.
I love that one in the middle.
Yeah, so that's sort of my main guitar that I use with the Shakedown. It's been all over the world with me. And the cool story about this guitar, it's called Pinky 2, because Pinky 1, which I'll show you in a second, Pinky 1 was stolen from me in Spokane, Washington, and missing for 5.5 years. And then it turned up in the back of a car. This guy came into a used car dealership in Spokane, sold it to the owner of the car dealership as $1,000 off on a down payment on a used car. And so then the owner of the car dealership sent a picture of it to this River City Guitars in Spokane, Washington. They were familiar with me and the Shakedown and said, that's Tyler Bryant's guitar. And they bought it and mailed it back to me. But meanwhile, this guitar, like my mom and dad like took out a loan to get me that guitar when my guitar got stolen. Whenever we did the AC/DC tours, the Guns N' Roses tours, like that's the guitar. Like it's been all around the world and destroyed. And what?
How are those tours? Does that just you blow your mind?
So lucky to have been there, you know?
That
it's
is
like,
so crazy.
Because I just like jamming with my friends, you know? I really love to just play music every day. And for so many years, we've just toured in vans and played clubs to no one. And then, you know, I have this theory that I hope is true, but I think that like if you stay at the table long enough, you get fed. We're very fortunate to get to tour with a lot of our heroes, you know? The first like stadium size show we did was in Lisbon, Portugal, and it was raining and they opened doors at 3 o'clock. So we were like pushing our amps on. This is also like our first like real European show. We're pushing our amps on in the rain to people who are like chanting for us to start. By the time we go on, they're mad. And we were just like, what did we get ourselves into? Best show we've ever had. And then the next time we're playing a club for 200, 300 people. I just love to play, man. And it was like a learning experience getting to watch Angus or Slash or the folks that we've been able to watch, and you just try to be a sponge and soak it all in.
Back to the mics. What was this one called over here again?
This is an AEA KU5A. And it's sort of their take on the RCA BK5, I believe.
Yep.
It's a super cardioid ribbon, so it's only picking up from the front. Normally I like to mic the resonators like around the 12th fret. With this mic, you can mic it right on the cone and it's not too harsh. It's not getting that like annoying brittle pick thing. And then I just have an SM81 thrown here in case I want to put down an idea or...
Are you grabbing these? Often, or is this?
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of needed a place for them. My old man made this, and I kind of wanted to put it in the living room upstairs. And my wife was like, "We don't need your guitar pedals in the living room of the house." But my guitar tech Logan, who's been with the Shakedown for a long time, he found these pedals out of Germany. They're made by a company called Rodenberg. I worked with him on designing this like double overdrive pedal, so you can have one like semi-clean channel and then one with like. There's an extra gain boost. So there's 3 different gain stages and it turned into like a signature model pedal. I just got that Time Machine preamplifier pedal. Let me see. This is made by a guy named Reeve Carney in New York City. Handmade, unbelievable pedal. It's a preamplifier, so it's just it's like a light gain with a high pass. But yeah, I'm a fuzz nut. There's tons of pedals in the other room, and this is my childhood Big Muff, and Steve Lukather from Toto put this name tag on there that says Mr. Penis. The funniest part is he was wearing it on his shirt when I met him. And then he took it off and put it on that Big Muff.
Okay, so we got the kitchen here, which is a huge perk through the house.
It worked out great when we were doing the quarantine record because we literally went to the store once. We stocked up the fridge, making sandwiches, making pizzas.
And an oven.
I'm so lucky to have this, you know, as the spot that I'm working out of right now.
What's the story with this guitar? This thing, it looks crazy.
So that's a Duesenberg. It's an amazing sounding guitar. I became friends with the guys over at Duesenberg, and it's like alligator looking leather. Not to be like super douchey, but I did just get a leather jacket that will match it. A person that started out as a fan and kind of became a friend of the Shakedown made me this wall hanger. So this is Roosevelt Twitty, who was my mentor growing up. He's like a Texas blues legend, in my opinion. And he's the first person that he like asked me in a music store one day if I liked the blues. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And he's like, well, I'll show you. And then he started playing like a Jimmy Reed shuffle. From that moment on, my life was changed. Dude, like I got his name right here because it's like just him sharing the gift of music with me changed my entire life.
Yeah.
So whenever we're like getting to walk on stage at Madison Square Garden, I'm going, man, I met a dude in a music store who was just really kind and was like, hey, listen, you ever heard of Lightning Hopkins? And it's like, it set me on this journey. Like all this like gear is really cool, but then you think about like, what's the point of it?
Yeah,
it's to share music so that we can all be excited about something, and I like to have it there and remember him. So check this guitar. This is a gold top Flying V actually. And I actually we were out on tour with Stone Temple Pilots and Rival Sons right before it was like one of our last tours that we did, and I took a spill. We had just switched to in-ears, and I'd been used to we were using wedges, and I'd been used to using in-ears, and I tripped over one of the wedges because my hair was too long. The headstock didn't break. It got a pretty gnarly little thing, but killer sounding Flying V. These are made in Georgia. It's this guy named Matt Hughes. He made that pink one over there too, but just amazing instruments, man.
Where can you get something like that?
I don't know. You have to check his Instagram, I guess. Like, it's Banker Guitars. Because I think whenever he started the company, he was actually a banker. He made this shell pink Flying V with the pearl headstock. It's unbelievable.
You got the orange 8200. Okay, so
that's a bass. Just a bass head. I've got a bass cabinet in the other basement. If we want to actually mic a cabinet, I rarely do, to be honest with you.
So you're running the heads into like an aux box or something?
No, I mean like if I rarely mic a bass cabinet. This orange cabinet is it's got a speaker cable running to the other room, and I have a lot of heads in there that I can kind of control from that area. I've got a speaker cable into this one, which this is actually an open back orange cabinet, which is cool. And I've got a closed back in there, as well as some 412s with different speakers. And then I've got this Marshall cab mic'd up ran as well. There's a speaker cable running to it. This is my wife's Princeton actually. I have one that I really prefer to use, but it's at our band rehearsal spot right now. The old 59 Bassman, tried and true, sounds amazing. These are from a company called TrueFi. Joe from Hailstorm turned me onto this. This is an insane overdrive pedal. Overdrive / fuzz, and also it's purple sparkle. Like with this one, he just did like a crazy swirl. It's a rat pedal. So I kind of have a little vocal setup out here next to the famous restroom.
Oh yeah.
So I've just got the iPad set up to where I can control Pro Tools.
Is this an iPad mini?
Yeah.
Whoa, and that works with the Pro Tools. Holy cow.
Yeah, with the Avid Yukon or whatever it is. And then this is like an old Mic Tech mic that Shannon Rhodes modified. This is a mic that was gifted to me by Roger Allen Nichols. On that Pressure record, the last recording we did was this song called Like the Old Me. And that was the mic from, that I sang and played into, and he gifted it to me after that process.
Tube mic?
So, yeah. This is like, we're home recording right now, okay?
Yeah.
So we're in a basement. There's a refrigerator right here. If I want to get a room sound, I put the fridge on a remote. So see, there's a light. Now the food is rotting.
Yeah.
It's making noise. So we're gonna have to sacrifice some food and ice cubes. Here's the can, and there's a ribbon mic in the shower actually, because we are doing home recording. So this is great. This is a Stager mic. It's made here in Nashville. So whenever we're tracking drums, I just leave this door open. I mean, it's a cool little room sound. Hey, and also I'd like to point out this.
Dude, is that Diplo?
It's Diplo. To be honest with you, I don't know why that's there. But it really does. Like it gets a laugh out of people.
All right, so control room.
Yeah, so this is the control room area.
Before you're in here, this is a bedroom.
I would assume that it would be a bedroom. Because there's closets. I think this was sort of designed to be just an apartment for someone. So this would be the bedroom. They've got a kitchen and a bathroom. And it does sound really good. It sounded good before I put any treatment up. You know, there's a guitar boat with lots of padding and uneven surfaces. You know, there's like this dip. Even the wall kind of having this lip on it. There's some natural diffusion happening. Yeah.
Nice cloud. Did you make these?
Well, my friend Brendan and I did it together. He did more than I did. The 703.
4x4?
Yeah. Yeah, it really did do quite a bit of good.
The cloud and this too, that will change. That'll be a game changer.
Yeah, and I've got the corner piece. You don't really notice it because it blends in with the curtains, but...
Did you buy those, the corner ones?
Mm-hmm. The thing that I didn't realize about the treatment is how much I was getting reflection-wise. When I first put them in, I was like, man, my speakers are not, it doesn't sound as loud as it did. And I was realizing, oh, it's just as loud. I'm just actually hearing what's going on. The back ones really helped a lot with the low end.
What computer are you using?
I'm using, it's a MacBook Pro, just here.
Oh, nice, tucked away. Okay, so that lives in here then?
Yeah, it lives here. Well, I take it on the road with me too.
Okay.
It's just a souped up MacBook Pro. Like when I go on the road, I just take an Apollo and...
Is that what you take, the twin right there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have another one in a road case that I take with me, and then I've got one of these that I take and an SM7 and a set of headphones, and it goes into every dressing room and every hotel room.
All right, and then it looks like you got some more over here. Okay, so you got the X8P, the 16, and the 8P. 16 preamps between the two. Does this have
That has
4?
8 as well.
Okay, so 8 pre's, and then the twin has 2, right?
Yep. So really, pretty much only using this one for just more DSP right now. Because I rarely do I need more than, like, even if we're tracking live, rarely do I need more than 18. These also sometimes go out, oh, the LA4. I got that from Vance Powell. It's an interesting compressor. It sounds cool on some things and awful on some things. I like it on room mics. I like it on, it's cool on guitars, background vocals.
So it's stereo?
If you have another one, you can make it stereo.
You can connect them, got it.
Yeah, Vance was like, out of all the LA4s, I know they sometimes get a bad rap. He's like, this is the one.
So this is the 610, 76?
Yeah, it's not the 76, it's the 2610.
Oh, the 2610.
Yeah, so there's no compression on this one. 2 channels of it. So right now I've got the stereo overhead going through that. And I will say, no cloud lifter on that, and it's totally fine. I mean, obviously it's recording a loud source, but I like the way they start to distort as well. You know, like if you crank the gain up. Just a classic 1176. This one's really special because sometimes the needle will get stuck and you just gotta give it one of those. Yeah, so I got to do a record for my wife's band, Larkin Poe. They made a covers record called Kindred Spirits, and she asked me if I would engineer it. And I said, yes, I'm so excited. So I went and bought this and this for that record. I didn't realize it was like me at the top of a hill, and I started sliding down.
What do you think of this audioscape?
I love it. I love it. They call it the Opto. It's a killer LA2A sounding thing, you know, and I can't say enough good things about them as a company as well. They're really stand-up folks, and I snagged this DI from them as well. I think that's what I have, the vocal chain that's patched in right now is like, you know, the BAE, the 1073, which those sound great. It's going to the 1176 and then to this.
Does this BAE have like a big power supply?
Right here. You see what I can add another one. Yeah, I have the power for another one. So right now I've got the R84 crotch mic on the drums.
Okay, so overheads on the 610s, R84.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is now, but like it could be different.
What is this mic?
That's one of the Telefunken TF11s.
Okay,
yeah, it's a FET large diaphragm condenser. It sounds amazing. I got a stereo set of them. They sound great on on piano, as overheads. They're great on acoustics.
What was the model again?
TF11.
TF11, okay.
That's
and
cool.
then what's this? This looks just like a 47 as well.
Vance Powell turned me onto these mics. He has 2 of them. I think there are a total of 4 or 5 of these mics at Sputnik, which is Vance's studio, and he's one of my favorite engineers. I have so much respect for him and everything he does. So told me, he's like, dude, you got to get one of these Peluso 2247 LEs. Shot it out with my friend's original, he has a killer original U47, and this is like it was right there.
All right, so you got kind of 2 vocal mics always ready to go in here, and then everything you could dream of for guitar.
But I think right now I have the overheads going through the distressors Those are cool. I mean, they're patched in, and I can, you know, you can always just bypass them if you need, but.
710, right?
The 710, it's a killer preamp, man. Actually, the way that it crunches up, too, if you drive the input, it's got compression on it as well.
Yeah.
It's like a slow and a fast setting. So it's an 1176 style.
Oh, and then you get the Tridents. Are these these are Pres too, right?
Yeah, I got those from Vance as well. Right now, the rack and floor toms are going through them.
And then these retros are.
Yeah, well, so this is
wild.
this is like, I love this. That's just fun. I bought the Audioscape. They call this the V Comp, and it's the same thing. I bought this, and then this popped up on Craigslist, and so I bought it as well, and I thought I'll just shoot them out and get rid of which one I don't like as much. And they're both still almost inaudible. The Retro has a little bit of a higher noise floor, which I don't know if I need to go have it biased or what, but I think right now it's patched into the Avalon, and I'm using it on bass. But the thing I like about the Audioscape is it actually has a bypass. So you can just run through the tubes and the transformers and not compress if you want to. Down here, my friend Brendan built these. This is sort of like a manly pre representing Baja Burrito here in Nashville. And then this is just like a API 412.
And he made both of those?
Yeah, he made both of those.
And what's this guy? Is this like
Yeah, that's just a tube tape echo. We were using those, like whenever we first started recording with Vance Powell, he always had two of them that he would run stuff through, and if you don't use the echo, you can get a cool like saturation on the drums. Or I gotta be honest, I don't use it that much anymore just because like the UA plugs are so great. So yeah, and then tons of guitar stuff. So speaking of universal audio, I keep a table kind of set up here to throw pedals up. So this is the Starlight Echo Station. This is the Golden Reverberator. So I don't know if you've ever had that moment of like using a UA plug where you're like, I wish that they made pedals of this.
Yeah.
So I could do it live, and they came out with them, and they're awesome.
Now with those pedals, can you go in stereo, or do you need two pedals?
Yeah. And this is the modulation, so you can, it's coarse, flanger, and trim, and there's endless options. Like you can get super nerdy with these.
I'm just gonna give a shout out then to Universal Audio. Whoever's watching this, if you haven't checked them out, check them out. They have been a huge help for me and my channel, as well as Sweetwater. So
as far as guitar pedals go, like this board changes all the time.
So this is like a Vibe?
Yeah, a Univibe. This is like a Dunlop MXR thing, and this is a Billy Gibbons Octave Fuzz, the TB Drive. This one's really cool. It's Dr. Frankenstein's Dwarf. It's just a gnarly fuzz with this EQ, so you can really thin it out or make it fat.
Somebody set these up for you? Or
yeah, XTS, Exact Tone Solutions, here in Nashville. They built this amazing box for me, which works great when I'm playing live because I can go out to 2 amps. If I'm using a wireless system and the wireless frequency goes out or something, the guitar tech can just plug straight in there and it bypasses this. This is the pinky version of the TB Drive. This was like a limited edition that we did. Killer Tremolo, the shaky trim.
No affiliation with the Shakedown?
No, and you know what the funniest part is my wife's, her last name is Lovell. And so it's the Lovell shaky trim. And I'm not gonna lie, I got this pedal just because of that, and it just happens to be like the coolest tremolo. The Zvex Johnny Octave, I got this, the lead singer of Blackstone Cherry gave me that, and it is an amazing octave pedal. The Jex Tellez Dizzy Tone, I had this one rehoused because it comes in this ridiculous housing, so XTS rehoused it in this more manageable box. The Boss switcher is just kind of controlling everything so I can have multiple pedals on at once. Like say I can switch from like the drive and the verb to a fuzz and an octave, and I'm not having to really, and the delay is MIDI, so I can have multiple settings and tempos and stuff. And I'm normally running 2 amps, or I'll do say like a head through the aux box, run out to a cab and mic up the cab as well. Right now what I have going is I have this orange Custom Shop 50 going straight into the aux box, and I'm using the aux box as a cabinet simulator. Yeah, and so I have 6 presets that I've designed and saved in the aux box.
What is this guy?
I believe it's a 20-watt Silver Jubilee. Like right now, I have this amp running to a cabinet out there. So I'll go out of the pedal board into the orange, into the aux box, into the Marshall, microphone in front of it, room mics.
What's this little guy over here?
The Solo Dallas Schaefer replica. I learned about this from Angus Young. So basically when they were doing Back in Black, the guitar tone wasn't quite right. They figured out that his wireless system was giving a certain gain compression limiting thing. And so they basically just recreated that in this piece of gear. I take this on the road with me. It's hard to describe it, but once you hear your amp with it, you don't want to hear it without it. This pedal is made by the same company, the Solo Dallas. I think it's called the Storm. It does a similar thing. This amp is incredible as well. This is made by a company called Square Amps. And it's an old radio that is like I think it's a 4-watt Champ style amp. And then I've got the amps going through the brown box. So I'm just regulating the voltage, like what they're actually getting. And this is like a 100-watt high watt made by a company called Three Monkeys. It's nuts. It's offensive. Let's talk about some guitars, yeah? So this is a Mellow Dwind made by a builder out of France, all handmade. I bought this for my wife, but she's out of town, so I have it in my studio right now. This is a Mule Mavis. Look how thin that is. Baritone Telecaster. We have a song called Loaded Dice and Buried Money, and this is the guitar for that song. This is a D'Angelico 335, 1956, 125. I think I was 13 when I bought this guitar. I like mowed yards for so long. 50s National Resophonic. It's like a student model resonator.
Yeah.
I like to tune this one too. Like a lot of unison strings.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But then when you have a slide or something. I broke a string on this one yesterday.
Whoa.
This is called the Judge, and I got this while I was serving on jury duty. And I got this little seal from the 5th Circuit Court Judge Joe P. Binkley, an Eddie Van Halen humbucker, and then a Telecaster pickup. In like a 59 Tele situation. My wife got me this guitar, I love it. And then we've got a shell pink Gretsch Duo Jet back there. There's way more guitars, but I swear I do use them all. Like they don't just sit here. There's more in that closet and more in that closet. I got this one Carter Vintage recently. It's just a parts Telecaster that sounds absolutely incredible. Well, so this one, like you saw the sign for the guitar shop in Paris, Texas, CNC Guitars. Yeah. I used to work there when I was a kid, and I would work there on weekends and I'd tune guitars, and if someone would come in and they couldn't play, they would be like, yo, Tyler, play this guitar and show them how it sounds. But this bass came from there, and this one was saved from a fire. It's obviously been on fire. I think it's a 67 Mustang. This was the pink Strat I was telling you about that was stolen and missing. This guitar, actually, like Steven Tyler had written on the back, pink, it's like red but not quite. They sanded that off. We got to induct Steve Cropper into the Songwriting Hall of Fame, and you can see like a couple of little pin marks where I'd written the lyrics of Midnight Hour on there because I didn't want to mess it up singing it in front of Steve Cropper. And they sanded that off, but they never changed the serial number plate.
Wait, so the people who stole it sanded it off?
Yeah, and I had my favorite guitarist, this guy, Alan Haynes out of Texas, sign up here, and there's like 2 little Sharpie marks. Yeah, I love this guitar. It was modeled after one of my favorite guitars. So check this out. We got a couple of cool ones in here. This is actually Mr. Twitty's guitar. Wow. He left me this guitar when he passed. So that's a 50s Melody Maker. Unbelievable, right? 1960 Fender Strat. I got all the original stuff there, but I got this guitar when I was a kid, and it was a gift to me, and that's not lost on me how bizarre that is, and how lucky I am to still be holding on to it. But I used to play in this blues band, and we got offered a gig to open up for Dwight Yoakam at Gillies, and so it made no sense. We were playing slow blues after slow blues, and people wanted to line dance and two-step, and there was a guy there named Don Nelson, and he was the coach of the Dallas Mavericks basketball team. And like, I'm from a very like humble, like working class family. Both my parents have worked 2 jobs since I can remember. And he asked me what my dream guitar was, and as like a tiny kid, I told him a 1960 Fender Strat, and this showed up. It was in perfect condition when I got it. Like you can see there's like a little ring here where someone put a beer on it one night when we were playing at this little club that was connected to a Denny's.
Real quick, let's talk about speakers. I realized we overlooked. Okay, so these are the HS7?
No, these are the HS8s. I've had them for 12 years, I believe. Yeah, and then these are the Genelec 8050Bs. I love these monitors. I think they sound amazing. And then I've got the Avantones for the end of day. I had to put in the dB meter to try and watch my ears.
Well, dude, thank you for doing this with me.
Of course.
Seriously.
My pleasure. Yeah, man, well, I've loved watching your channel through the last year, and checking out everybody's studios and gear and stuff.
Where can people follow you and the band, and what do you guys have coming out and stuff?
Yeah, people can check us out at TylerBryantTheShakedown.com. I'm the Tyler Bryant on Instagram. Got a YouTube channel. I try to make a track a day, but I post a handful, you know, a month on my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/TheTylerBryant.
Wow.
So I make these instrumental jam tracks for musicians to jam with. They can download the track and then so people will download them and then send me what they were hearing over them. So that's kind of a fun way to connect with other sickos like me. Yeah, so the Shakedown just finished a new record that will be out this year. And we'll be hitting the road. At the end of June we'll
Get
be
your tickets.
heading up to Pennsylvania and New York, and then more shows are being announced daily. Thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah, dude, thank you for having me. Everybody, I put all Tyler's links, band, everything down in the description. Give them a follow, check them out, and see you guys in the next video.